Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Today's topic is, do you feel that we are at a point where we might be getting close, or we might even already be there, where it's a possibility that the anti-gunners could start pushing for a constitutional amendment to redefine the Second Amendment? It seems like less people nowadays than ever care about guns. And it seems like the right's given a lot of lip service to guns while also pretending that violence is out of control, even though it isn't. And it seems to me like eventually they're going to try to say, well, see, we were nice on guns. We let you all have your rights. And look what happened. So now we got to talk about restricting those rights. And with the way things already are, with the gun community being so narrow and so restrictive of who it accepts. I mean, just look at anybody that didn't support Charlie Kirk now and how they're ostracized in the gun community. When you've gotten so narrow in the gun community with a constitutional right that you think everyone's got to support a divisive figure like Charlie Kirk, well, we're in a bad place. So that makes me personally afraid that, yes, we are at a point where eventually they could try to repeal the Second Amendment. In fact, I think it probably will happen within the next 20 years. They'll at least try. And I will be surprised if they fail. And also, the only way I think it won't happen is if we break apart as a country beforehand and all the extra, territories that become their own little governed states will write their own constitutions. And Second Amendment won't be part of the bigger, more successful ones. If you want a Second Amendment, you'd have to be in one of the probably going to go bankrupt countries. And even then, I doubt they'd give it to you. Even these states like Alabama and everything, they're like, we're pro Second Amendment. If something happened that the United States dissolved and they became their own little state down there, I don't think they'd give people a Second Amendment. I think they'd be like, yeah, things are going to get bad here because we don't got enough money for these people. So we don't want them armed because they're going to live in poverty. So I don't think you would get it then either. So actually, I do think we are getting to a point where it could be repealed. Too many people do not agree with the Second Amendment the way it's written, which is, I'm sorry, the way it's written is the way it is. That's why I'm absolutist. But I think it might be getting to where 3/4 of the states, 2/3 of the Congress is a possibility on repealing the Second Amendment. I think a lot of them right now that crow how important the Second Amendment is, if it actually came up for a vote and they knew if they voted for it, it was gone. And the powers that be, the 1%ers that control them, own them, and the courts were saying, yes, you have to vote for this, I think it would pass. So I'm not too hopeful. Let's see if other people are more optimistic or hopeful than I am. Johnny Mandrick said, it is not. No way it would get the votes. A lot of Dems own guns and politicians aren't going to lose that sweet, sweet special interest money. Well, they don't have to lose it. And they can still keep their guns. They'll just alter the Second Amendment to where they'll say something like, the government should be able to enforce reasonable restrictions upon the citizens of the United States when it comes to owning and possessing weapons. You think it'd be hard to get people to support that? I don't think so. I think they'd get people on that board right away. And then what the government deemed to be reasonable would be pretty unreasonable, I think. Yes, country doesn't seem to be getting any smarter. Yeah, and we got people on the right fighting against their own interests now when it comes to guns. We got YouTubers taking money to slam a gun company and to promote slanderous ideas, libelous ideas, just because they're getting paid for it. And then you got a bunch of other dumbasses helping them along because they want to be liked. That's sad. Sean Bain said eventually, yes, it won't be important anymore. Well, we'll all be subjects by then, so it doesn't matter. Everybody will either be the wealthy or wage slaves or the impoverished. There won't be anything else. Mr. Furley said, no, you won't get 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states. You don't think you can get 3/4 of states to say just to agree with the fact that the government and the people should be able to place some reasonable restrictions upon gun rights in this country for the safety of all involved. I don't see that would be that hard of a sale with the way the people believe now. Majority of people don't believe in gun rights now anyway. So wouldn't be hard to get and even the FUDs, you think it'd be hard to get the FUDs on board with that? I don't think so. And all they'd have to do is start funneling money to the right talking heads on YouTube, and you'd have half the gun community agreeing with it right away. That's sad. I mean, you had people screw after just a few talking heads took some money to say some stuff. You had morons on the internet screwing triggers back and then acting like the gun's a problem. Ghost Shadow said state of Washington will do everything to destroy the Second Amendment. Well, yeah, they are already trying to do that. They would love to get rid of the Second Amendment on a national level so they can impose their draconian stuff on their state level, which they still impose now, even with the Second Amendment. Imagine what it'd be like if it wasn't there. Imagine what it'd be like if they just had another amendment that stated that in modern times, the government and the people have to be able to enforce special, reasonable restrictions on ownership of weapons in this country. Wouldn't be that hard of a sell. A nominal snowman, and I'm not sure if this is for that chat or what he's saying here. He said, can't stay at work. Civil liberties are doomed collectively. Mass police state surveillance with AI analysis, corporate rule, stratified, stupid populace. Well, all that's true, but I don't know what the point was, to be honest. We got a couple more people weighing in here, then we'll be done. Edgar Cortez said, I do not believe that we will lose the Second Amendment, but I fear that infringements and restrictions could occur over time. Well, if they stay by the Second Amendment, that can't happen. Like I said, they would have to amend the Second Amendment to allow restrictions that are non-historically based, because you can't ban modern things that weren't banned back in the day because they weren't banned back in the day, so it can't meet the historic requirement. So they'll need to write something that says, because of modern advancements in weapons, the government has to be able to enforce reasonable restrictions on ownership of weapons of mass destruction among the populace. I think you'd get probably 7 out of 10 people that would vote for that today. So much less in a few more years, if we manage to whittle the gun community down even further. Then we got Audit 2 weighing in here. Audit 2, why would they appeal it? I live in Illinois where a JB just creates bans. It already is appealed via infringement. Well, that's true. If you're not able to exercise the right, it isn't a right. And we've seen time and time again lately that the Supreme Court drags their feet on doing anything about it, and courts turn against it constantly. So do we really have the right now? If it's not being enforced on a federal level, if the Supreme Court isn't stepping in and saying, hey, abide by our decisions, do their decisions mean anything? Or is it already corrupted, the Second Amendment? Simply because the infringements exist. Does that negate it wholesale right there? The very fact that infringements are existing right now, doesn't that negate the whole shall not be infringed? I mean, a law ignored is a law repealed, basically. So, like you said, just what he said, same thing. So I just said in a lot more words, I guess. We got one more person weighing in here. Jacoby C said plausibly they could be. Well, of course, plausibly they could be. And I think it is. I think that's what they're working towards. I think that's why they're keeping a lot of people placated with decisions, but then never enforcing them. That's why they're pretending like things are so violent when they're not. I mean, look, you got soldiers in California and Washington, D.C., because even though crime rates are way down, and even though people are like, oh, it's so violent in California. California has lower crime rates than a lot of southern states. You don't see it there. They're just creating the illusion of immediacy, that need for immediate action. And that is how they get things passed that are ridiculous. And I think a lot of people would vote to say that because of the advancements in modern weaponry, that we have to be able to impose reasonable restrictions. Why is Chunky D deleting Mikey D stuff? What is it? Oh, this is stuff for the chat. No, we don't do stuff in the chat. But I'm done with the regular chat, so I'm switched back over. But yeah, so it seems like it's a mixed bag, and maybe not as many people are as pessimistic as me, but there ain't a whole lot more that are more optimistic than me either. So I don't think a good sign there. But I want to say thanks to everybody for coming, everybody for participating, everybody who helps support the channel, everybody who helps support the programs we run. It's appreciated. We try to help as many pets as we can. If you all want to help support the channel, go over to tympistolproject.com. On the site there, you can link to my Shopify page, buy some of the merchandise we sell. We sell a lot. It's all hand-drawn by me, put on merchandise for you. So all of them are original artworks. So go on over there, buy yourself something, or become a Patreon supporter or a Subscribe Star supporter. Get yourself some patches, help some animals in need, enter into some of our giveaways. There's also the Yankees Far Out Space Force fundraisers are going on over there right now. So go over there and get registered for that, win a prize. All of it can be done at tympistolproject.com, which is linked in the upper corner. And of course, remember to subscribe and turn on all notifications. That will help you keep up with the channel. With that being said, thanks everybody for coming. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe till I see you again.